What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Bonney is back with most recent bans. Bonney is working her way back into the meta, and today we have a match from the local shop against Marshall D. Teach. Don't forget to like and subscribe and enjoy the video. Starting off here, we did end up losing the dice roll, and Marshall D. Teach did decide to end up going second. That just ends up working better for the Marshall D. Teach curve, so you can play the 10 cost Teach on curve. Starting off one Dawn, we just end up passing right back. Passing over to Marshall D. Teach 2 Dawn turn. Start off with 1 Dawn to go with the Searcher event. This is my H, starting to search for the top 3 in deck. And from there, we're able to find that Kuzan. This Kuzan is a busted card that came out in OP10 that is just wreaking havoc in Marshall D. Teach. Tap another Dawn for the stage, just allowing more cycling and more searching through the Marshall D. Teach. Does end up having to trash a Burgess, but since he drew the Kuzan, doesn't end up getting too much of a hurt, and then grabs the Lafitte off the stage search, passes it over. And he passes it over to us. 3 Dawn turn. 3 Dawn turn, there's not really much to do unless we find the Searcher, and we do. This gets around the Blackbeard effect since it is that activate main type effect. And we're going to search that top 5 for a green Supernova. And we find that Cavendish. Cavendish is going to be really vital into this matchup just because even though it does have an on play, it does have that when attacking effect to still be able to restand 2 Dawn. And with our 1 remaining Dawn, since there's nothing on board, we're going to swing 6k into life and take that first life from Marshall D. Teach. Pass it over, the 4 Dawn turn for Teach. And with Teach on a 4 Dawn turn, trying to think of what he can play out here. He could possibly end up playing that Burgess, starting to get more on that offensive attacking pressure. Start swinging into my Bonney and clear my board. And we are going to see what he does here at first. Starts off with a stage search, ends up trashing a black hole, which is good. Searching the top 3. And ends up grabbing the 10 cost Teach. 10 cost Teach is great in any matchup, honestly. And then he's going to swing 5 at life. We are totally fine with this, so we can start building our hand size to start taking this life. Doesn't swing at the Bonney Searcher because he ends up playing out the Shiru, because on play he can KO a 3 cost or less to get rid of that Bonney Searcher. And then from there, I believe he's deciding if he wants to trash 1 card to use the black hole effect so he can negate all of my on plays. And he does end up trashing another black hole, so I have no on plays on this turn. So 5 Dawn turn, that does negate a Cavendish play to be able to restand 2. And here you can see I'm just checking the Shiru because I have been burned by this before, since on my turn it does get plus 2000 power. Since it is active, it does not matter at this point in time. 5 Dawn turn basically has a target for almost any card in mid-range for our deck. You know, we can hit the Cavendish, we can hit the Smoker, we can play out Carrot, we can start searching again, or play out any of our blockers. So this turn is pretty flexible for us. Starting with a 5k swing at life. Ends up countering out with the Vasco shot. And then we are going to tap all 5 down, and we are going to play out that Cavendish that we searched out earlier. Don't get the on play effect, but if that sticks into next turn, we will be able to start using that when attacking to still be able to restand 2 of our Dawn. 6 Dawn turn for Teach here. Starting off the 6 Dawn turn, he does play another This Is My Age Searcher. He's going to search the top 3 for another Blackbeard Pirates. And he grabs another Marshall D. Teach. That is the 2nd Teach that he has searched for, and he is then going to pitch a Kuzan. He still has Sage. He can end up searching again if he would like. And ends up tapping down 2 more Dawn. He's going to play out a Lafitte, so he's going to tap 1 to play it out, and tap 1 more to search it. So same as my Bonney, search the active A main, searching again for another Blackbeard pirate. When he's just kind of deciding on what to take, multiple different things in Blackbeard to kind of play around this matchup. And he ends up deciding to take another Blackbeard as Blackbeard number 3. So we know in that hand, as it starts to dwindle, as you start to pitch cards for his leader effect, he is only going to have 3 dead cards in hand. So that is great information for us on the offensive side. He's going to swing 5k in with lead again. Rethinking, and yep, there is the 5k swing. And we're going to give a 1k counter with the Rosinante blocker. And after that 5k swing, he has 3 Dawn remaining. He's going to tap 2 more for another Lafitte, 1 to play it, 1 to go ahead and search for a top 5 for another Blackbeard. And he's going to grab a Shiru. At this point in this matchup, it is just going to be a 2k counter card. And he has 1 more Dawn remaining. And he is just going to swing a 6k at lead with the Shiru. We're going to take another light, go down to 3, just again increasing our hand size to be able to start fortressing up for a useless Captain Kid if we do have one in hand. And at this point, Marshall Teach is deciding if he wants to trash another for the leader effect. And he ends up trashing that Shiru that he ended up finding with his search. Pretty telling, trashing at 2k. Dawning up and refreshing for our next turn. We tap down 5 for a Smoker. This is a great addition in OP10 for this deck. It gets banished and you can still end up restanding a Dawn. So in combination with Cavendish and Smoker, you can end up restanding 3 Dawn as long as you do the ordering properly, making sure you're swinging with Cavendish, because as soon as you use the Smoker effect, you can no longer restand Dawn using other character effects, which is actually what I was just explaining to my opponent at that point in time. And we're going to get an 8k swing into the Shiru, which gets plus 2k on our turn. We will restand 2 Dawn. Now we're going to use Smoker effect to restand 1 more Dawn. And we're going to swing 5k into just those searchers so he can't continue to search for more cards throughout his deck. And we're going to tap 2. And we play out the Don Quixote Rosinante, just a really solid all-around blocker. And really good into the black matchup overall. Now we pass back over and Teaches back on to an 8 Dawn turn. 1 turn away from starting to chain together those Marshall D Teach 10 drop characters, which are just brutal to be able to play around and play against. 8 Dawn, you can see him separating out 4 and 4 just to potentially see what is going on. And he's just going to start tapping down 1 to go ahead and search with that extra Lafitte that is still on board. Searching top 5 for another Blackbeard pirate. Just thinking over what he is going to end up grabbing off his search, and he ends up grabbing This Is My Age, which again is just another searcher to be able to continue to cycle through that deck and be able to get the cards that he needs. Really thinking through things here, with the Cavendish and the Smoker on board, it really does put a lot of pressure onto Teach, and he doesn't have any characters on board to be able to support any sort of offensive attack unless he does want to commit some Dawn to it, but we already have that blocker out there, so it really does put Teach into a pretty tough situation at this point in time. He does end up finding and playing out that this is my age that he searched for off to the feet. He's going to end up grabbing a Stronger. Really great card, 2k counter, and you can end up trashing a 0 cost character. 6 Dawn remaining for Teach. We know he still has that Kuzan that he searched for earlier, so that could potentially be a line of play at this moment that we are certainly thinking about. We see him holding 1 Dawn in his hand, and we believe that that is what he is going for as well. He's going to swing 6k into the Cavendish, and we're going to give a nice solid 1k. And then tap down the remaining of his Dawn, and there is that Kuzan. He's going to go ahead and trash it, draw a card, and then be able to play out another card from his trash. Usually it ends up being the Jesus Burgess, and there it is. And his trash is starting to build, so that Jesus Burgess is just going to start getting pumped up with that power. Every 4 cards in his trash, he gets an additional 1k worth of power. And since he has searched so much and milled so many cards, he's already going to be doing pretty good on the power gain, already plus 4k. 9k body is pretty solid at this moment. And at the end of his turn, he's going to end up tapping down the stage, trashing another card, and searching again for the top 3. And he's going to grab another Jesus Burgess there. And trashes that Jesus Burgess that he just searched for to use the leader effect, so we cannot use any of our on plays at the moment. And going into our 9 Dawn turn, this is a pretty easy turn for us. There's kind of only a couple moves that we can do, playing the Shanks, playing the Zoro, or building our board. You can see it here, we tap down all 9 Dawn for that Zoro, which is going to be so good in this matchup. Swing 6, restand 2 Dawn from the Cavendish, and we are going to get a 2k counter out, and pumping out that Jesus Burgess again, and we're going to then Smoker effect, swinging 7k into life with the Banish. Ends up taking the life and getting a 2k counter right into the trap. Going to drop down another 2 Dawn for a killer blocker. That 9 Dawn turn really set us up very well for this next turn for us. We know it's 10 Dawn for Teach. He's probably going to play down that 10 cost Martial to Teach, and we know that that Zoro is not going to be able to attack next turn, but we do still have a very good board that is built and developed that is going to be able to counter out against it. Ends up searching with the stage for a 2k Stronger. And that 10 Dawn is still up. We are just waiting for that Martial D Teach to be played out. And there goes 10 Dawn down. And one of the 3 Martial D Teaches played out onto the field. And now he is determining which character cannot attack. So Zoro will not be able to attack next turn, and nullifying my leader effect, so I will not be able to rest down any of his characters when he is swinging again. But I do have 2 blockers out on board, so that makes me feel pretty good and pretty confident compared to what he is going to be swinging with. He's going to swing 5k into life. We are going to take it just because we're going to start keeping to build up that hand size. And then he's going to swing 9k in, or excuse me, 10k in with the Jesus Burgess, and we are going to block. Originally we thought we were going to block with the Rosinante, but we decided to block with the Killer, and drops down, trashes a card for the leader ability, and no more on plays. So this turn make things tricky for us. We do still have a very good board developed. He does have a blocker and 3 life left. Zoro cannot attack, which is a very good win condition. We know 2 more Teachers are going to be coming. So if we have another Zoro in hand, that is going to be a great way to go around this deck here. We're going to start off with a 5k leader swing into life. Ends up going down to 2k to life. Ends up triggering the finger pistol. So trigger for finger pistol is activate main, being able to trash top 2 cards from your deck and KO a 5 cost or less character. Ends up deciding to knock out the blocker. We're going to start a 7k swing in with the smoker, 7k banish at life. Not many cards left in hand, goes down to 1 life, and that Shiru goes straight into the trash. And there it is, another Zoro. Massive amount of pressure onto this deck. We're going to then swing in with the Cavendish, restanding 2 more Dawn, and we still have the Smoker ability to be able to restand 1 more Dawn for this turn. And he's deciding on whether or not he wants to take this last life or potentially counter out of this 6k swing, and we do get another 2k from hand. Smoker effect, restand 1 Dawn, pay 2 for a killer, and then we are going to attach 1 Dawn onto the killer. On block, we are able to then draw a card since we have 3 or more characters on the field. Great position for us right now. We have 2 Zoros on board. Even if he plays down another Teach, another Zoro is still going to be active to be able to take out. Great spot right now. A perfect spot that we want to be in to be able to have a nice solid win against the Marshall D Teach, which is a pretty tough matchup for Bonney. Teach is back on another 10 Dawn turn, and this is a pretty tough spot for Teach. We know he has 2 more Blackbeards in hand to be able to play out, but at this point in time with 2 Zoros on board, he has to do something to be able to prevent us from being able to swing in for game. Is going to go ahead and trash card, tap down the stage, search for the top 3, and he is going to grab another Shiru. Not a bad card, gives him some counter in hand and gives him some value for next turn. Only has a few cards left in hand. We know 2 of them are Teaches. Since he has not trashed any yet off of the leader ability, we see him counting out some Dawn, so maybe he's not going the route of the 10 cost Teach. He is maybe going to potentially try to go for game. 2 life left. He's got 3 big swings with a blocker on board, so there is not a great chance that he can go for game. He could potentially go for board though. He's gonna tap down 4, play out the Shiru, so on play he can KO a 3 cost or less, so he is gonna KO the killer blocker. I do still have 1 Dawn standing, so I can potentially tap something down to leader ability now that 10 cost Teach was not played. He is going to go ahead and use his leader effect to trash another card, buff up the Jesus Burgess again. I believe he is now up to an 11k power. He has 6 Dawn remaining, and we can see him counting out the remainder of his Dawn. Potentially big swing into life. Cavendish would be a really good target, and also Tashigi or Smoker, since there is no more blocker on board. Opponent is thinking here for quite a long time, because this again is just a really tough spot for Teach. 2 Zoros on board, both of them are going to be active next turn. If he does not do something about it, it is not going to end well for the Teach. And he is going to tap all 6 Dawn onto his leader, doing 11k in at life. And there's that leader ability tapping down that Teach, and that really just solidifies the game right there for us. And you see the fist bump there, and that is game for us. Looking back here is the deck list that we were running tonight. Bonney is getting back into the meta. Some changes potentially making in the future, dropping down the Don Quixote del Flamingo down to a 2 and buffing up the Zoro up to a 3, with Gecko Moria and Ice Age being banned, Zoro is just going to find so much more value because there are less things that can take it out on the turn that it is played. Bonney is back, guys. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you in the next video.